guys, welcome back to Nelly Eats. If you have not read the title, today we're going to be making a rum cake. Now this cake is really good. I made this cake on Thanksgiving and it came out so perfect. This cake is so soft, so fluffy, so moist, and I know y'all are going to enjoy it. But before we get into it, let's go over the ingredients, and of course I'll leave all the measurements down below in the description box. For this rum cake, you're going to need cake flour, white sugar, 5 eggs, but we're only going to be using 4 whole eggs and 1 yolk, so 5 eggs altogether. Of course, you're going to need your Bacardi. You can use any kind you want, but I prefer to use Bacardi Gold. I have about a cup of crushed walnuts here. You're going to need vanilla, so just to balance out some of the sugar, baking powder, 2 sticks of butter, and buttermilk. Oh, and you want to preheat your oven. I have mine on 325. But you can put yours on 350. Like, everybody's oven is different. And I want to cook this cake slow just so I can watch it. But I have mine on 325. You can put it on 350, but just make sure you watch it because you don't want it to burn. And also, we're going to be cooking a rum cake. I believe this is 10 inches in a 10-inch bun pan. But we'll get into that later once we get this all mixed up. But yeah, those are the ingredients, and I'll leave everything down below in the description bar, including the measurements and everything. So now that we got that out the way, let's start mixing. Okay, so for this recipe, first you want to separate your wet ingredients from your dry ingredients. So first you want to mix together all of your dry ingredients. So that's just your cake flour, your salt, and your baking powder, which I already have mixed up in this bowl here, and I just whisked it together just to make sure everything is nice and combined. Whisk together your dry ingredients and then just sit it to the side. And now we're going to work on our wet ingredients. So next you want to take your sugar and your butter. We're going to be using 1 cup of butter, so that's 2 sticks. And make sure your butter's at room temperature just so it's easier to combine. So we're going to be using a hand mixer. So you just want to combine this and blend it up with the hand mixer until it's light and fluffy. So now that we have our sugar and our butter combined, now you want to start mixing in your eggs. And you want to do this one at a time. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just add the yolk from this egg. So just crack it. And if you don't feel confident that you can separate the yolk from the white, do this in a separate bowl. Now you want to add your vanilla extract. Okay, now that you have all your wet ingredients mixed up, now you want to take your buttermilk and your rum and just combine it. Okay, so I'm just going to measure out 1/3 cup of this. But you can use as much as you like, depending on how strong you want the rum taste. Just add it to there. Mix it together, get it all combined. Okay, so I'll put that away.
Just put a little alcohol. You don't put a lot.
Now that we have our wet ingredients, our dry ingredients, and our rum buttermilk mixture here, now you just want to combine everything. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to add everything into this wet mixture here. Put about half of this in. All right, now I can see this is starting to get thick. So what I'm going to do is just add my buttermilk mixture just to loosen it up a little bit. Now I'm going to just pour the rest of my dry ingredients in here. And now I'm going to just pour the rest of my buttermilk mixture in here as well. Alright, so now that we have all our ingredients combined, you should have something that looks like this. And you want your cake mixture to be kind of thick. Well, not kind of thick. You want it to be thick. So now we want to add it to our 10-inch butt pan. Before you add your cake mixture to your pan, you want to make sure you spray it with a non-stick cooking spray. I just take this and spray it Spray it all around until you coat all sides, even the middle, because you do not want this cake to stick. Now that you got your front pan sprayed with your Baker's Joy or whatever cooking spray you use, now you want to take your walnuts, and I have about a cup of crushed walnuts here. They're not crushed up too small, but you crush them up as small as you like, or you can leave them whole. It's up to you. And just spread them around the bottom of the pan, because the bottom of the pan is actually going to be the top of the cake. So you want your walnuts to be on top, and we're also going to add some more at the end. But yeah, just take, I don't know, about a handful and just spread them around the bottom of your pan. And you can use as much or as little as you like. You don't even have to use walnuts. Like, I've seen recipes where people use pecans or pecans, however the fuck you say it. But yeah, I don't like pecans, so I use walnuts. But yeah, spread it around like that. So now that you've added your walnuts to the bottom of your pan, it should look something like this. So now you just want to add your cake mix to your pan and then throw it in the oven. All right, make sure it's nice and mixed up. This thing is heavy. Ooh, it's either heavy or I'm just weak. This thing feel like a pound cake. It's so heavy. But you just mix it. Not mix it, like, you know, even it out. Make sure it's even on all sides. And then I'm gonna add the rest. These bowls are so heavy. Oh my God, I can't even hold it. Ooh. Once you got it in the pan, you just want to spread it out, make it nice and even so that it cooks evenly on all sides. You also want to get some of the air bubbles out. So what I like to do is just tap it on the counter, like just throw it down onto the counter and get out some of the air bubbles. Sure, I gotta do too much of that. But yeah, I saw somebody do that before. Yeah, your cake should look something like this before it goes into the oven. And like I said, I got my oven on 325 because I really want to cook this cake slow. Right before it gets done, I don't like to cook my cake all the way, but like right before it gets done, you stick a little knife in it or a fork, and if it comes out clean, your cake is done. But I like to take mine out a little bit before it gets done, so it's not gonna come out completely clean. But as long as it's not, it doesn't look like cake mix, you know, when you pull it out. You know? But put this in the oven. I got it on 325 for about 45 minutes. Check on it, and once the top looks nice and golden brown, and you stick a fork in it, and it comes out somewhat clean, then you just want to take it out, all right, and then let your cake sit. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven, and I'll be back once it's done. Okay, so now that we have our cake in the oven, now you want to work on your rum glaze to go over top of your cake. So all you're going to need is some sugar, rum, and a teaspoon vanilla, and also some water. Oh, and butter. First, you want to melt your butter into a kind of like a medium saucepan like I have here. Take a whole stick, drop that in there. Right, so you just want your butter to melt before you start adding in your sugar and your rum and everything. So I'm gonna just give that some time to melt. Put a lid on it. Put a lid on it just so it can melt a little bit faster. All right, let's check on our butter. All right, it's still melting. Now I had only took out 2 sticks of butter, but I should have took out 3 because if this was room temperature, it would have been melted by now. But that's all right. That's all right. All right. So that's just about melted. You don't want your butter to burn. Okay, now that that's melted, I'm going to add my sugar. Throw my Bacardi in there. And my water. And then I'm just going to take a whisk and mix that all together. Now that I got it all mixed together, I'm just going to leave it alone put a lid on it, and bring it to a boil. So I'm just let that sit, and then I'll come back and add my vanilla. Okay, so it looks like our glaze is starting to boil, which it is. Just give that another stir. All right, so now that we have it boiling, I'm gonna just turn the fire down. Turn it down to a low, because now you want it to simmer. Now I'm gonna add my vanilla. And that's basically how you make your rum glaze. So once our cake comes out of the oven, I'm gonna pour this over the top and add a few extra walnuts, and we'll be all done. All right, y'all, so I just took my cake out of the oven. It's been about 45 minutes, and this is what your cake should look like once it comes out of the oven. So now what you wanna do is just flip it over. So I'm just gonna put a plate here on top. All right, now this should slide right out, but let's see. So I'm just gonna take a little towel here, just so I don't burn myself, and lift it up. Okay. Ooh, that looks really good. Oh, and as you can see, it did not stick. See? All right, so this is basically what your cake should look like once it's done cooking. I baked it at 325 for 45 minutes, and this is what it looks like once it comes out. So now the only thing left to do is just add your glaze over the top of it. So I'm just gonna take like a couple spoonfuls and just drizzle it over the top. And you can add as much or as little of this as you like. And this is also what's gonna give it that like rum flavor. But yeah, you just wanna spread this over. Not spread it, kind of like pour it over. Okay, now that should be enough. And now you want to take your leftover walnuts and just spread them over. Okay, now it's time to cut into it. Y'all, that cake looks so fucking good. All right, y'all, let's try this cake. But I already know it's good. And of course it's good. I made it. But yeah, let's bite into it.
God damn, bro, this tastes good. Anime, come on. This cake real good.
That cake is good. All right, y'all. So that's basically how you make a rum cake. Again, I'll leave everything down below in the description bar. But if you like this video, share it, comment down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on Instagram at Nelly Eats. And I'll see you in the next video.